Hola, hola. Guys, I'm gonna wait a sec or two to get the live started. I just want to talk a little bit about a few really cool new things from Vortex that have been running here for a little while, and I wanted to go over them. So we'll talk about it here in a sec. All right, so let's get this started. So if you guys follow Vortex, you saw that, I believe 2 days ago, they came out with a whole bunch of new optics and a bunch of different things. I actually didn't know a lot about a lot of the things that were coming out, but I did know about the new Spitfires, their new prism scopes. They sent me those about a month ago to play around with. So I'm holding in my hand the 5X, and then I actually tested out the 3X on my X95. We ran it at the last level 2 Tavor class, and actually ran great. I'm generally not a fan of fixed power optics, just because it makes it really hard a lot of times to take closer range shots because of that narrow field of view. So I didn't really know if I was gonna like it or not. I was more leaning on the side as I'm probably not gonna like it. But we did run the 3X right here on this Tavor, and it did really, really well. It has a BDC reticle, so bullet drop compensation. I believe out to 500 yards on this, and it's 3 power, so it makes those longer range shots somewhat more manageable, especially right now for me with my vision not being the best, not being at its prime like it used to be. Having that magnification is really, really useful, but it's not too much, at least on the 3 power scope. So we ran it for 2 days, really bad conditions too. It was like the ultimate test, muddy, rainy, cold, and it did really well. So we have that nice BDC reticle in there, and of course we have the scope caps that kind of stick together. You just kind of clip them together like this, so it keeps them out of the way, and then you can look through that scope. The eye relief is actually pretty good, and it's pretty comfortable on the Tavor. The glass is really, really clear. Like that's one of the things that I like to see on glass, that it's just easy to look through, especially, like I said, with my eyes not being the greatest anymore. They were when I was in sniper school, not anymore. So it's just nice having good clear glass. Of course, we have a focus adjustment to adjust the focus on the reticle. On the reverse side, you have a brightness setting, which I'm also always a fan of for low light shooting. So you can turn up the brightness for that reticle, especially for low light stuff. And during the day, just easier, so you kind of use it as a red dot to pick up that reticle. And that's how I usually use magnified optics anyways. I just kind of ignore the magnification and keep both eyes open and let that reticle kind of, it's not projected right, it's etched, but I just let it kind of, in my mind, be projected on the target. So it's pretty easy to use, and it's pretty nice. It's got that kind of half horseshoe with a dot in the middle, so even in magnification, makes it a little bit easier to pick it up on the target, and so on and so forth. So I did test out the BDC as well, out to 400, I believe, and it actually tracked pretty well, even with the Tavor. So it does work. Of course, to me, BDCs are always kind of guesstimations because there's so much variety in ammo and barrel length and bullet types and so on and so forth. So wasn't, I don't really care much for BDCs personally. I like to just know my ballistic holdovers, or just adjust a turret for elevation if I have that option. So pretty neat. Like I said, I got to test out the 3 power quite a bit. Shot it for 2 days, didn't lose zero, didn't have any issues. and it'll just stay on my rental gun here as kind of the go-to, and that's it. Well, we got a few folks joining us here. Well, we got people from Israel. I like it. I want to talk about also the 5 power. I didn't have time to test the 5 power, but I would like to. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of magnified or fixed magnification optics. You know, I ran the ACOG for a long time on my rifle during my service, and I really hate it because of that fixed power. Because it's 4 power, you just have the target right in front of you. So Vortex did something really smart here on that 5 power, which is putting a plate here for mounting a Viper or a Venom red dot on there. So you can, you know, keep your head up for those close range shots, use it as a red dot, and then squat your head down for the long range shots, which I actually really like the idea. You know, even with my LPVO, I rarely use anything but 1 power or 6 power. On occasion, if I'm hunting and I'm in a stand, I'll just put it at 3 power because I know it could be anywhere from 50 to 150 yards. It makes it a little bit easier to make that more precise shot. But this is really handy and really dandy. I'll probably test this out on my Tavor 7 at some point. These are 1 MOA adjustment per click, which I'm not a fan of. I wish it was half or even quarter, just because I like to have those finer adjustments, especially on magnification. You're looking at 5 power. We want to have a good amount of precise adjustment. If we can see our target right, we can make those precise shots. I like having the 5 power there, but I like being able to adjust it also more precisely, which is nice to have. It's basically just like the 3 power. You have your brightness adjustment for the reticle, battery compartment here, windage, elevation, and then that red dot mount, which is really nifty. I always like it when manufacturers make your life easier, so you don't have to find extra things and extra parts and so on and so forth. And it just makes things more consistent because you just mount it right on the optic. So pretty neat and always nice, particularly on the Tavor, when you can keep your head up to make those shots. One of the hard things with the Tavor is that length of pull. So especially once you get prone, if that magnification is set up for that eye relief is set up for prone and you get to standing, you really have to push your head forward to get a side picture. So having a red dot on top of there makes it actually really handy. Same thing with this reticle. We have a BDC. Let me get my proper eye relief here so I can see it. There we go. BDC, same thing, focus adjustment, and this is definitely out of focus for my eyes. All the way to 500 yards, which is always nice to have. Uses CR123 or 2032 battery, which is kind of the standard for most optic nowadays. It's a battery that lasts a long time for 3 volts. Oh, and last thing I wanted to mention is that it comes with 2 mounts. So it comes with a lower 1/3, which is great. I don't like co-witness mounts. They're typically too low, even on ARs. And it comes with a flush mount. So let's say you want to put this on an AK or something where you need to have this super low, or maybe even just a bolt gun, where you just want to have it nice and level. And actually, I think this is a great option for a bolt gun as well. So great optic overall. I'm really excited what Vortex is doing this year. I really want to get my hands on those new Fury binoculars. If you've been to my courses, you know that I use those binoculars all the time. And I have the older Furies, and they're pretty awesome with the rangefinder built in. But this one, where it syncs up with your ballistics app and does all kinds of crazy stuff, is really cool to have. Also a bunch of tripods. I'm a huge fan of tripods for shooting. Those of you that go hunting, you know how hard it is to get a good stable position. Tripods make your life a lot easier, especially elevating yourself while staying stable. So pretty cool here. Like I said, new Spitfire 5X and 3X, which Vortex sent me a little while back to test out and try. We ran this one through about